Before we go into the questions, let us first revise what we have learned in the yesterday class. The first one, what we have learned is what is a ratio. A ratio is the simplest way to compare two values or more values as well. So these are the actual values from above, whatever you are looking now in front of you on your left hand side, these parts, these are, we are looking from above. So this is actual value. So now you might be conversant with the actual value, and then these are what, when we see from the horizontal view, we will get a ratio value. Now you might be now conversant with one ratio value, that is 1 RV. We are 1. And then we also understood how to find out the actual value from ratio value. This is the most important formula or the relationship that we are going to remember throughout our learning in quantitative aptitude. That is, actual value divided by ratio value will give me 1 RV. That is 1 ratio value. Okay, so let us go into the questions now. The fourth type of model, which will deal with the percentage increase or decrease. Yesterday in the model 3, we have learned how to solve the questions where there is a addition or subtraction in the ratios. Now, what is this percentage? Before we go into this, we are going to have a different chapter, a separate chapter for percentage, where we are going to learn percentage in depth. Till then, we'll just understand percentage is also a kind of abstract value. We have understood what is abstract value yesterday, so you should understand that percentage is also an abstract value. What is an abstract value exactly? It is dependent on some other actual value. Like ratio is dependent. Ratio, if I say 3:7, will not understand anything, right? So it has to be connected, or it comes out of an actual value. So likewise, percentage is also dependent on a different value. So if I say 59%, it doesn't mean anything. If I say 59% of the profit comes from so and so department, it means something. So percentage is also an abstract value because it is dependent on some other value like ratio. So once these two are abstract values, will be able to solve the questions very easily. Okay, let us see this question and solve some questions on the model that we are looking at, percentage increase or decrease. The ratio of number of students in school A, B and C is 5:8:4. If the number of students is increased by 20%, 25% and 30% respectively with the due respect. Okay, no. This respectively doesn't mean with respect. It means that 20% is for A, okay, and 25% is for B and 30% is for C, which all of you might know as well. So now, so if these are increased, so A is increased by 20%, B is increased by 25% and C is increased by 30%, what will be the new ratio of students in schools A, B and C? So let us see how to solve it. So first let us take A, B and C, the the ratio 5:8:4. Now what we are going to do? We are going to add or increase, okay, in this. How much? It is 20% for A, 25% for B and 30% of C. So A we are going to increase by 20%, B we are going to increase by 25% and C we are going to increase by 30%. So 20% of 5 is how much? 20% of 5, whatever way you know, you now do it. When we come to percentage chapter, I am going to teach you in a different way. So I know it is increase. Only 20% of 5 is 1. Okay. Now we are only finding 20%. We are not increasing. We are only finding it here. We are going to increase next. So 25% of 8 is 2 and 30% of 4 is 1.2. So once we increase these numbers by these percentages, the ratio will become 6:2 10 is to what I'm going. I am only adding these numbers. 5.2. Okay. So now how do I? Because there is a decimal number, there is a 0.2. So we need to convert them into whole numbers. To convert them into whole numbers, what I'll do, I see there is a 0.2. So I'll multiply all of them by 5. You can start with 10 as well. If there is one decimal place, you can multiply by 10. Then you will get the whole number, but I do not want to go into it because I can see here that it is zero point 0.2. When I multiply by 5, I'll get a whole number here. So this will be 30, this will be 50, and 5.2 will be 26. I can still see that these are divisible. So this is 15. So I'm dividing it by 2. Can you understand? Okay. So I think you are now very fast in understanding what I'm doing. So what I did, I first increased it by, I first found out how much is 20% of 5 and 25% of 8 and 30% of 4. Then I added those numbers to the ratio. So we got what? We got 6 is to 10 is to 5.2. Because this being a number which is having a decimal place, I wanted it to be converted into whole number. I just multiplied all of them by 5 because I know what yesterday I learned it, that if you multiply or divide a ratio with any number by the same number, it's not gonna change. So this won't change. Therefore, I multiplied them with 5 and I got the new ratio as 30, 50 and 26. I later found out that this also can be simplified further because this is not the ratio in its original form. So I can divide all of them by 2. Therefore, I divided them and I got the final ratio as 15, 25 and 30. I think it should be very clear. So now let us go to the next question. Next question is in front of your screen, my dear friend. The ratio of the earnings of A and B is 4 is to 7. If the earning of A increases by 25% and that of B decreases by 25%, the new ratio becomes a 7. 8 is to 7. What are A's earnings? Now try to understand. This is a different type of question. So we are going to deal with it in a different way where we are not going to use that same 4x plus 50% of that this thing. So I am just going to show you, this was the question which has appeared. So let us try to understand this. Let us try to understand how to solve this one. So what I'll do, I'll take 4 is to 7 and then I'll just do whatever is required. So A increases by 50%. A increases by 50% means I have to add 2 because this is 50% of A. 50% of 4 is 2. Okay. Now I'll increase it. That is fine. Then and that of B decreases by 25%. This decreases by 25%. What is 25% of this? 25% I can find out by 1 by 4, 7 by 4, 7 by 4 is how much? 3 by 3.5, 3.5 is 1.75. So minus 1.75 which is equal to 6 and this is equal to 1.75 will be how much? 5.25 because this is 0.25 and this is having a decimal. I'll multiply both of them by 4 because then I'll get a whole number. Are you following me or is it becoming the speed? So what I did, I am going to tell you. This 50% increase is there, therefore I added 2, and this is 25% decrease. This is, they are told that the decreases by. So what I did, I found out 25% of 7 and then subtracted. When I subtracted 7 minus 1.75, I got 5.25. Likewise, because there is an increase, I added 2 to 4 and I got 6. Now, because this is a decimal number where there are 2 decimal places, I need what? I need whole number. Therefore, I am going to multiply by 4 because I know 25 into 4, I will get a whole number here. 0.25 into 4, I will get a 1. So, 6 fours are how much? 24. 5 fours are 10 plus 1 is how much? 21. Now, if you see this one, it can be further simplified. How it can be further simplified? So I can see here, I can divide both of them by 3. 3 8s are 24 and 3 7s are how much? 21. When I see here, whatever question has been given, same thing I arrive at. It is 4 is to 7, then I increase by 50% and decrease by 25%. I'll get what? I'll get 8 is to 7. So that is what is given in the question. Now how do I find what are A's or B's? Now try to understand. If the previous question, if you go to the previous question, they had asked, there was increase in the number of students and they had asked the ratio, because ratio is abstract value, percentage is abstract value. I can find out ratio, right? I can find out even percentage. But in this question, they have asked the actual earnings. To get an actual earning, I need at least one actual value. I need at least one actual value. Please note down, this is very, very important information. If they ask this and then they want you to find out the actual value, we need at least one actual value. If everything is an abstract value, we will not be able to find out any actual value. So we need at least one actual value, then only we will be able to solve this. If this kind of question comes, it is only 0.5 second question. Are you able to understand? Just read the question and you should be able to understand. Cannot be found, whatever, cannot be determined, okay, or data inadequate, not do not, data inadequate. This data is inadequate for us to find the answer properly. Is that clear? Is that clear? So note down this one. This is very, very important information, my dear friend, because once you understand this, you will be able to solve at least one of the questions without calculating anything. Let us go to the next question. Okay, so this is okay. This is an improved question. So same question. The number of employees in company A and B is 4 is to 7. If A recruits 80 new people and B lays off 25% of its total employees, the new ratio becomes 8 is to 7. How many employees does A have originally? Now you can see the percentages and all these things are same. There is only one change here. This is the same kind of question with a different information. What is the different here? They have given here actual value. They have given here actual value. Actual value of how many people were recruited. How many people were recruited. So with this information, we are going to try whether we will be able to solve the question and find out how many people does A have originally, or employees does it have originally. So what I am going to do, I am going to see this initial ratio. Initial ratio is 4 is to 7 for A is to B. Now here what happens, 80 people are recruited and here lays off. Lays off means what? Not your eating lays, my dear friend. This lays off means they will be losing the job. Means the people, the employees have been shown the door. The employees have been removed from their job. That is called lays off. So what will happen? So it will decrease. The number of employees will decrease because, okay. So now what will happen? New ratio. Now we are going to see what is the new ratio. New ratio is 8 is to 7. New ratio is 8 is to 7. Now earlier question, because there was nothing to be solved, I just wanted to show you why it is cannot be determined or data inadequate. Therefore I solved it in a different way. This I am going to solve it in a different way. Please see this carefully so that you will be able to solve it so fast with this information that you will be able to understand how to solve it perfectly. What I'm going to do, see this ratio, what I'm going to do, this 7 and this is 7, it cannot be 7, like we have discussed in the last model. When there is a change, the ratio has to change. Here it is not changing, so there is something wrong. What is wrong? Because the numbers are, the HCF of these numbers are different, so therefore it doesn't work like that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to find some numbers. Okay, for only B I'm working now, because this is perfectly known that there is decrease of 25%. So I have to find some numbers which are the multiple of 7. Listen to me carefully. Now I'm going to find out some numbers which are multiple of 7. Okay, and then I should be able to easily find out 25% less. So to do that, what I'll do is, I'll find out what is 25%. 25% is 1/4 of any value. Okay, 25% is 1/4 of any value. We know it very well. So what I'll do, I'll multiply 7 into 4. 7 into 4. I'll multiply this as 7 into 4. So now my new ratio for A is to B, because I know if I multiply both the numbers with the same number, both the ratios with the same number, the ratio is not gonna change. So 4 into 4 is 16 and 4 is to 7 is 28. Now why did I do it? Because 1/4, the fourth part. So if I want to subtract or reduce 25% of it, I'll be able to find out easily what is 25% of it. Because we have multiplied by 4, I know it is 25% is minus 7. So if I take minus 7, then what will happen to the new ratio? Because I know this perfectly, that this is 25% less. You should be very, very concentrated when I'm talking about this, very, very focused now. So what I did was, I took a number which I can reduce by 25%, that is 28. So to make the ratio same, what I did, I multiplied both of them with 4 now. So I get 16 and 28. Right. Now I reduced it because I know 25% less, so I reduced it and I got 21. Now when I got 21, this is also multiple of 7. Therefore only I took 7, both of them are same. So I took this 7 into 4. Now 21. So this is definitely 25% less than 28. So this is fine. Now if I want to get this also same, what I have to do? Because this is multiplied. To get 21, I have to multiply 7 by 3. So therefore, I am going to multiply this also with 3. So fractions you might be remembering now. This is how we do. If I write this as a fraction, you can see that's 8 by 7. So if I multiply by this by 3, then I have to multiply this also by 3. That is all, the logic is here. So 8 3s are what will happen here? 24. Now if we do this, this is only maybe 2 to 3 second job, my dear friend. Once you understand how to do it, you will be able to do it very, very fast. And you might be looking at it in a totally different way of solving. So please, please try to understand it properly. Now what I'll do next is, once I convert them according to my convenience, I'll be able to. Now what will happen? 16 has become 24. Can you understand here? There is an increase. I know there is an increase here. Here it had become double. But correspondingly 25% was not less. So I didn't take it directly. I converted them in such a manner that I get the answers properly. And I'll be able to solve this question very, very easily. Now you can see 16 and 24. There is an increase in the ratio. How much is the increase? You can see the increase is by 8. Once you see that there is an increase by 8, we will be able to now, because the actual increase is 80, actual increase is how much, my dear friend? It is 80, and the ratio increase, this new whatever we have created by using our knowledge of ratio, we got it as 8. So what is one ratio value now? One ratio value is 10, my dear friends. So this is the second step, where I get the one ratio value as 10. Once I get one ratio value as 10, I'll be able to find out what I need to find out. How many did the employees did A have originally? So this is the original number. 16 is the original. Now we are not going to work with this because this is not the ratio we are working. We are working with this ratio. So 16 is the original number of ratio. So I got 1 RB, I have to multiply by 16. So I will get the original number of employees, that is 160. You will be able to find anything.